we're now into the final part before lunch, which is we've called it's the publisher power panel. We've got a good mix of people here from publishers, external publishers, and also some big names in the industry. So what I'm going to do initially is just quickly allow people to, and also a new guest, so who's just added. So yes, there we go. He's a young man, so don't be too harsh on him. He doesn't like a lot of questions. But if I could just let you quickly introduce yourself and just say what you're working on at the moment. After you, Mika.
Hello, I'm Mika Luotio. I work at Flaregames as a developer relations manager. And I'm currently looking after sourcing new games, basically from all kinds of developers, and just to initiate the publishing and initiate the actual co-development of games at Flaregames. And I'm actually based in Germany, from Finland actually, hence the name.
He's got Mike.
Hi, I'm Matt. I work for EA in Chillingo. I'm in charge of third-party development for mobile on behalf of EA under the Chillingo brand. So here looking for new games and looking forward to judging in the very big indie pitch.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. I work at King, the only female in this panel, so very proud. I have a publishing background. I worked at Square Enix as a publisher, producer over there, and I'm working at a publisher at King, new IPs and stuff, but we're here to talk about market trends, so I'm very happy to join.
Okay.
Hey, my name is Jussi Immonen. I was just hijacked for this panel like 5 minutes ago, but I'm heading Rovio Stars, which is our studio in Rovio, working exclusively now with external partners. We started the Rovio Stars as a third-party publishing initiative, but then as the market has developed, we have more and more focused on collaboration and co-development projects over the pure third-party publishing.
Sorry. Cool. All right. Sorry. Just allow myself to open a bit of water there. Help yourself to water, obviously. So we're going to skip around a little bit here. It's a bit fast, a bit loose. I want to talk a little bit about the kind of role of the publisher, but also talk a bit about some of the amazing, interesting trends we've been talking about today. So I'll kick off with the kind of a pretty standard question, really. I've been in the games industry quite a long time. I know I don't look old enough to have been in it that long, but I have been here quite a while. I've worked on the PC side and console and mobile. And I think across that time, the role of the publisher has changed a lot. And certainly in mobile, when we started, it was all with the operators, it was all publishers, and then the App Store came and it was all people doing it themselves. And now it feels to me that we're kind of back again, needing that the publisher is needed, or is always needed, but is back again having a very central role. So, how do you see the publisher's role in the mobile ecosystem at the moment? Is it about UA? Is it about marketing? What is it? What do you do?
Well, I think more and more kind of co-development approach makes more and more sense these days. Instead of throwing money in a general direction with user acquisition and marketing, I think what makes sense in the modern market right now is actually caring about what you do in terms of co-development. So you actually want to make a good game. You want to facilitate success, facilitate awesomeness by simply actually caring and nurturing the game through its soft launch up until hard launch. And I think that's really important because the market is getting more and more saturated, more and more competitive. So it makes way more sense to really invest time and money in terms of actually developing the game to its full potential.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, look, we've lived through this for a long time now, and we've seen the market change. And you're right, it's come full circle. And the role of a publisher is really it's always been to allow the developer to make a great game, and we handle everything else. I think in today's market, with being oversaturated, marketing becoming incredibly expensive, it's not just about UA and advertising in other games, it's all the clever other marketing you can do, which is where a publisher should certainly pick up the mantle there. It's, as you've mentioned, co-development. We used to be in a volume-based business, but now we're moving more and more into co-development with developers and really helping you learn about these new worlds. You'll hear lots of things today about esports. Where do you fit in that world? Where can we help you in your second game or your third game? So it's about long-term cooperation as well there.
Okay. Sabrina, are you going to involve? I know you're not, obviously, from a King perspective, well, you're not publicly publishing the games yet.
Yeah. Can't talk much about King for two reasons. One, I joined 4 months ago. And two, because I work in IP development. But I can talk about past experiences, I've been the publisher and I've been the one trying desperately to sell my soul to a publisher.
Yeah.
I come from Brazil, so it's a complete different scenario for us over there. If you want to reach a global market, you have no chance because you have no money, because you have no knowledge, because pretty much the industry developed itself based on advert games. So it's great to see the trend and co-development being in a higher place right now, because when I was doing it back in 2012, in 2013, it was pretty much whatever the publisher said, we would do it, and we would still have to compete with the other companies to get it published. And then on the publisher side, at Square Enix, for instance, we had a pool of like 13, 15 projects, and we would publish one. So I think it's a very different perspective, and it changes on the location. I think that this panel being on this track makes a lot of sense, because I see now that I'm working in Europe, and it's completely different than the experiences people have back in other markets like Latin America.
Okay, cool. And you'll be talking about Latin America later on, so
yeah, later
come back
on.
for that. You see, Rovio Stars or Rovio third-party publishing, how does that work? Well, how do you see Rovio's role in that?
So as I said earlier, we have seen the market kind of build up from the scratch as a free-to-play market, and then kind of maturing more towards the service model business, and that's where we kind of saw that we started our external partnership development by pretty much running two tracks. One was Rovio Stars, third-party publishing, and then we had more like work for hire type of a development with external partners. And then when free-to-play evolved more into the service business, we kind of saw that all the interesting business models and working business models were somehow going in between these two models. So neither one of these extremes is fully serving the kind of LTVs greater than CPI thinking, where the traditional publisher model is the one where publisher is responsible for all the activities and the whole funnel until day zero, and then developer is responsible for kind of making the game to monetize those players who download the game. But that's not anymore how the game works nowadays. So it's kind of the roles are overlapping, and in order to optimize your funnel for the day zero, you need a lot of collaboration, rounds of efforts, also from the game team side, how the whole experience is. And then the publisher is no longer just responsible for delivering numbers of users into the game, but also making sure that the users are right quality and they stay along in the game, and we optimize the traffic as well as the game towards the target user.
Yeah, okay. So a lot then. There's a lot more for the publisher to do. No, I think we've basically established that it's evolved. I think I'm going to skip on some more trends in a second, but just to kind of close out on that, because it's one of the things we wanted to talk about, was as publishers, one way or another, currently or previously, what is it you're looking for a developer? At this event, we're going to have like the sort of indie pitch and the speed match and a lot of kind of guys with great ideas who need support. If I'm a developer, what is it you're really looking for? Is it more about the team? Is it about the great game mechanic that just kind of grabs you? Is it something else? What is it that you guys are looking for? I mean, you've obviously signed some pretty successful games recently. It's done quite well.
Yeah, I think the main thing that you want from a developer is that you want to see focus on an area of type of games that they want to do. If a developer is all over the place and they're looking to make games from left to right, for me that's usually just a sign that they're just trying a shotgun approach. But if you have a developer that's really aiming for a specific type of a niche of games in terms of, okay, let's do idle RPGs, and let's go down on a genre and actually really kind of go deep on it instead of really going on a shotgun approach. And I think that preciseness is something that I'm looking for, and that focus is important.
Yeah. Okay. And Matt, you the same sort of thing, or?
look, the first thing that we look for, and we're in a great position as publishers that we get to play games all day, and we see so many. And that first thing is something that makes us smile and that's fun.
Yeah.
And that it's different, because in today's market, there's no room for a copycat game, especially from a publisher, because of the expectations that comes from our house. So it's fun, it's innovation. Then it's about the partnership with the developer. Where's our value as a publisher? If we don't have a value, then that partnership won't work.
Yeah.
So it's about setting expectations. You're right, total focus. If we've got developers that, well, I'm making this game and then I'm making another game in my spare time, that's not going to be for us, because this is a full-time job. And it's never been the case in the hundreds of games that we've signed that we've been aligned from day one on the release date for that game.
Yeah.
They tend to take years in development with us before we're ready. So a developer has to be in it for that long run. And that journey that this game is going to become a hobby for someone's player. And that is really critical for us to have that alignment.
Cool. Do you see, or Sabine, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think your point is really valid. It's about resilience, and I think another thing that it's important is that if a small studio or a small company goes all in that deal, it's a very high risk as well, because it's a long relationship. You know, the relationships, right? It goes up and down, any sort. So it's a high risk, and going all in, it needs to be clear for both sides. What does that mean?
Yeah.
We are also pretty much on the same line with Mika, that focus is the key, and teams need to take those small incremental steps. I'm not very much interested in somebody making the first game on the genre, which is completely new, kind of a lot of innovation, but also loads of risk and lessons to learn. So I'm more nowadays looking teams which are more on the kind of a third round of the evolution on a certain genre, kind of took already all the lessons, and team which hopefully have 5 years development experience together, and knowing how the team best operates. That's the optimal partner at the moment, and nowadays you get to see more and more of these around as the industry matures.
Yeah, so you're looking for focus, a good strong team, and someone that's in it for the long run, doesn't think, I'm going to get my development check and then I'm going to be off in 6 months. Okay. I'm going to kind of squint in now. So we had a lot of interesting talks preceding to this about different parts of the market. I want to kind of get some perspective on it. One thing, like Newsy was always good for data, always good for big numbers. I like Newsy's big numbers, they're always very good. So from what I recall, what I wrote down at least, they were predicting a mobile games market of 52 billion. I think that's what I wrote down. I hope I'm wrong with that. By 2019. Whether that was exact, I think that was the right number because they screwed on. But that's quite a big growth from where we're at now. And you're hearing everywhere, oh, the mobile games market's kind of topped out and now it's kind of slowing down. All this. Do you find that number's kind of credible? Do you find that there is still a very, very big upside? Because that's kind of, I think we're at 27 billion or something now, or maybe 30. I think it's almost kind of doubling in sort of 3 years. Do you think that's credible?
I think it's totally credible by just looking at getting like on average 10 pitches a week right now, and I look at the market and I look at how many game pitches are coming in. I can totally see that in this space, there's more and more room for players in terms of publishing and development, which means that it's a great place to be because you can't do it all. You have to collaborate with publishers. Publishers have to collaborate with each other as well, because there's so many games that can be published, and there's so many titles, so much development happening that I can totally see that number being credible.
Okay.
And it's definitely.
I hope it's good. I like
it.
it. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of vested in this market. I'm hoping it continues to grow.
I mean, numbers are great, aren't they? But let's just look at players on the street playing games, and it's increasing every day. Pokemon Go launches, and it gets kids and adults and everyone out on the street.
I know.
And it hasn't cannibalised the market. So
Supercell might not necessarily agree 100% with that fact, but yeah.
We've got areas like Latin America booming. Everyone's trying to figure out some other Asian areas as well. So yeah, the market's booming. People want to play games. Developers are getting much more clever about how they monetize games and giving people really valuable things to buy in games. So Whether we hit that number or not, who knows?
We're upbeat. That's good. No, that's good. So just skipping on from that, maybe Sabrina, like you were saying about, it's different markets. And notably in Newzoo's data, they also pinpointed Asia Pacific as being, the lion's share of that kind of growth. That's worth more now than the whole market is now. So, is that where the opportunity is going to be? Is it Southeast Asia, India? Is it Latin America? I mean, we'll talk about this later, but is the West still going to go at that rate, or is it going to have to look beyond that for growth?
I think, speaking from a Latin American perspective, it's growing enormously. I'm going to share some numbers, and not only in terms of people, because that's the deal, right? There's a lot of people there. We're not Asia, but there's a lot of people there if you put Mexico and Brazil together. And I lived and worked in both countries, and the difference is that it takes a little longer for technology to get there. So everything that it's been educated before, like we were talking, if somebody said, events have been going in Asia in 2013, people already know. So they're getting there now. So of course it's a little bit later, but it's happening. And they play the same games most of the time. Like my father is almost 60. Clash of Clans, addicted every day. He's over there. My mom, Candy Crush, addicted. So it happens and it's coming. And I think the other point is that the gamer is no longer the male that sits in the basement and he's like, what, 20 something, 17? No, that's not it anymore. Yeah. So the age and gender gap opened. Now you have a much broader market, and the age as well. They start playing. How old are they when they start playing right now? That wasn't true, 5 years ago? So the market is huge, and yes, I firmly believe it's going to happen. I hope so.
And you see, obviously, Angry Birds especially, but is an international success. I remember the first time I went to China, there was more Angry Birds stuff, not necessarily all official, maybe, than there was Disney stuff. So are you seeing, without giving away kind of trade secrets, but are you seeing that Asia's a significant part of the growth going forward? Or is it more the film industry now that you're focused on? I don't know.
I think it's definitely more and more interesting part of the business. We are still kind of struggling finding our way to really go big in terms of game revenues on those markets. They are very kind of competitive and not very easy to go in for Western companies. But I think from the kind of do I believe in those numbers? Yes, definitely, but it's not all just more is more. I'm thinking that the whole kind of core of the growth is coming from the fact that there will be more games making more money, but it's still kind of fairly top heavy. So top 100 game or top 500 game kind of in 3 years time will make much more, but we don't necessarily kind of fuel that growth with just pure number of new titles flowing into the market.
And that's kind of something you said just then, and something that you said, Mika, is what feeds into a kind of question I wanted to talk about a little bit. So you talk about there being opportunities for smaller or medium-sized kind of publishers kind of coming in there. Obviously we've got here King are very much one of the top tier, and have been at EA, obviously also a sizable business, and Rovio too. Is that's still the case then? Because that's kind of one of the challenges, I think, for the industry, without wishing to do King out of any revenue or Supercell, but it is that it is a very top-heavy business, and a small group of companies have absorbed a lot of that kind of growth. But you seem to be quite bullish. Obviously, you guys are doing well. That there is still plenty of room for the middle class, as you like, of the publishing world.
Yeah. I think at Flaregames, and I think this is in general. I think there's an opportunity where if you take mobile game publishing and you target a specific set of games that you do. So, for example, at Flaregames, we target strategy, RPG, action games only. And if we would just say let's do everything, we would be losing our focus. So being able to be part of that very saturated market and having a lot of games, I think focus is very important in publishing as well, so that you pick your battles really well, so that you stick with the games that you know and the game genres that you really know and you've published before, and that kind of builds on the experience that you can actually offer something. You can offer expertise in specific genres, and that's actually value that you can bring to the development as well.
So your approach is focused, going back to what you said, but kind of being that it's more of a niche market now. You go, let's focus on your niche and don't do that. Don't just try and make a casual game one week and a hardcore game and do everything. Just really go, we're going to be the RPG, we're going to be the strategy guys, yeah. Would you, Matt, or, I mean, would you echo that, or are you guys, I mean, EA is obviously a bigger beast, so.
Yeah, I mean, let's remove the big games that do sit at the top of the charts, and they always will, and I think you'll see more, the more IP comes to mobile gaming, because IP owners are waking up to mobile now, so you'll start to see more come in. I think there's one thing that we can't forget, and you have to treat making games as a business as well. So we all sit here and we talk about King and EA and Rovio and Supercell. Okay, let's dream, but let's be realistic as well. So where do we want to sit in the charts? As a studio, and I run my studio as a business, how much revenue do I need to keep my people in a job? So is it $1,000 a day? Is it $100 a day? Is it $100,000 a day? And I think we need to be building games that fit into those buckets. And we as a publisher want to set expectations from the very start with a developer. It's dreaming for the top 100 charts, but look, it might be expectations that we don't fit into there because it is a very niche game, but we can delight gamers. And that's the main thing, pleasing people around the world with games.
If you can get like an audience and then build on that audience, it kind of doesn't necessarily need to be...
Absolutely,
You don't need to be Supercell, you don't need to be King, you don't need to be the kind of top of the chart.
No,
You've got a business there,
And if we as a publisher can help a developer become successful, and we've done it many times now, that's brilliant for us. And hopefully they'll come back and work with us again, but maybe they become so big that they do better.
Did Rovio work with you? I don't remember. Was that a little while ago? I'll skip on to the next question. We've got a few to get through. So you're talking about you talk about your IP, and you're talking about kind of little niches. Obviously, we had that small, Japanese card collecting game did quite well recently, the old Pokemon. So that Pokemon Go is everybody's been talking about. It's obviously an incredible amount of money being generated in a very short space of time. Is this a great thing for the industry? Is this a sign of a lot of trends to come, or is it like a one-off thing that's not that's just going to burn out and not happen again? How do you feel about Pokemon Go? Go on.
I can start.
Yeah.
I think first, when it came out, it felt easily that this is kind of something that works only because of the Pokemon brand and massively suitable IP. But then, now over the last months, I have more thought about it, and I think it's basically opening endless opportunities. How do you actually utilize the whole location thing, because you can start thinking it much more broadly, like, okay, this might be a leaderboard competition or collaboration, take it to the next level, or it can be something that triggers your live events or things like that. So it's not just what Pokemon does and you pick up the points of interest around you, but it's just the whole technology that is now there, and people are actually enabling devices to utilize it, but it offers so much more even across the board.
It's opened a new kind of behavioral trait, basically.
I think it's opened developers' eyes to look at the opportunity much more broadly now.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it also opened user education, because now, like you said, not everybody, but a lot of people. Is there anybody here that never played Pokemon Go? Can you raise your hand? Okay, 2.
What's wrong with you? What are you doing with your life? Where's it all gone wrong?
But all the rest has at least touched base with the technology and at least enable their phone. So in a perspective, yes, it consumes a lot of battery, it consumes a lot of data, so that opens eyes not only for developers, but maybe, okay, how do
battery manufacturers,
how do they actually want to proceed, right? So I think it opens a lot sort of education in this type of game, and like I said, new markets and different types of players, collector, competitor, they're all there, right?
Yeah.
Will we see another location-based game being successful on the market? Yes, but no, not time soon, I don't think. What it's done for the market is it's driven traffic back to mobile. We were seeing a little bit of saturation, I think, with mobile games, and boom, we've just seen something fly off.
It's a brand new thing, yeah.
I was talking to someone in the industry who knew about the installs of Pokemon Go and how many they were getting, and it was just insane. And I come from a company where we get great installs, but this was on another level.
Yeah.
So it proves that there is there is movement there to get more traffic to the app stores to download the games.
Yeah, if you get it right, if you've got some innovative idea, the right brand, you can
just
go beyond.
It accelerates. So it proves that there's still movement there. There's still room for growth for games. Yeah. I think that it just gives something to players that they want to earn and collect and play with, and they'll do anything for it. And that's just proven that getting people out on the street and playing in parks and walking hundreds of kilometers and things like that, it's just, I think it's waking people up on how gameplay can change now.
Okay. Are you gonna wade in? All right.
Just quickly. Yeah. So I've just noticed also that since Pokemon Go, there's a lot of excitement from licensors as well, who are really excited about doing AR and location games. Using brands, bigger brands. So that's interesting because it's kind of waking up also licensors who necessarily haven't done a lot of mobile games, and they see that as a kind of like, it just gets, somehow it kind of passes in a tipping point in a way for a lot of licensors and bigger brands as well. So that's exciting, I think.
Okay. I've got a couple more questions, but we've got like 3 or 4 minutes left, so I thought I'd open it up. If anybody here, I know it's just before lunch, I know you're all playing Pokemon Go or falling asleep, but has anybody here got a question for this awesome panel of publishers? Maybe a developer wants to know the business card or something, I don't know. No? God, I love Finland. So last question then, we've got about 3 minutes, so I'll give you a chance. Looking at the trends ahead, so we've got location-based is one thing. There's obviously VR and AR, it's something we're covering more, we've got a whole track doing that's one. There's esports, which is, you know, a big thing, which we're going to talk about again this afternoon. Like Finnish esports company just announced they've raised 4 million, I think it's critical for 4 million euros. Congratulations to them. So, which kind of opportunity is most exciting to you, and kind of why of these things? We've got VR, location-based, esports.
I think esports is really interesting, mainly because nobody has really cracked it, and I think in particular, like the watchability is something that I haven't seen a lot of mobile games where that kind of target that type of gameplay that could be esports compatible. I haven't seen a lot of those games that really are watchable, like that you can actually enjoy watching. Sure. While watching others play. There's a few out there, but I think there's a lot of opportunity still in terms of finding new gameplay ways that actually make it very interesting for people to watch. Actually watch other people play on mobile. Okay. And I think there's an opportunity there. That's definitely a big opportunity.
Okay, you know, so you go in esports. What do you think, Matt? You can throw something else in if you think.
Yeah, I don't like to call it esports, but meaningful social, I think, is one way.
Ooh,
and that's
that sounds like a really wanky term. I like that. That's good. I'm going to use that.
Made that one up. And it's how people are playing together in games. And I think we've seen it evolve over mobile with the starting of Facebook. You know, I can send my friend Get a Life in Candy Crush or something. Yeah. And now esports is coming in where you can watch people play against each other on mobile in real life streaming and things. I think that's getting really exciting because it does bring communities together. Yeah. So we're kind of excited about to see how that will evolve over time.
Like meaningful social, esports, social. Where are you going to go with?
I was going to say exactly the same. So lucky you got the microphone first. But things like Blizzard being able to stream via Facebook Live. Kudos to Blizzard, yay! But it's really interesting, and it shows that now you can actually watch people playing on your Facebook feed or on your social media, Twitch, and everything so on. And I think it opens up a lot of other possibilities, and as well as things like the iMessage. For example, you're going to be able to play inside and things like that. And, you know, Apple bringing that up. I think it's something very interesting as well.
Okay. Last but not least, you've got the difficult choice. You're going to go out on VR, do you see, or esports?
No, I need to go.
Cinematic tie-ins.
I need to go to esports, but esports is very core gamer turf still at the moment. So I'm looking somebody to crack what is going to be then casual version of the esports and how that shapes the market. So
it's not Clash Royale relatively casual.
I think it's very predatorial experience, the whole game.
Okay, wow. On that note, that's fantastic. Fair enough. Okay, well, it is now lunchtime. So can we have a big round of applause for my awesome panel? Thank you very much for your